Yesterday, we talked about how the Durham report shows that there is corruption inside the Justice Department as it pertains to how some people get investigated and some people do not. And that is disproportionate to one party over the other. Yeah. Well, now we have more evidence of that happening.
Yeah, so the deep state is actively trying to protect Hunter Biden. This is unmistakable, and President Biden ahead of the next election. If not, then how do you explain how the entire investigative IRS team looking into the Hunter Biden team, the investigation was just removed and shut down from investigating Hunter Biden this week? Like, they've been looking at this for a number of years. The entire investigative team was just canceled, dissolved, pulled off the case. Now, according to reports this morning, an IRS whistleblower says that he and his entire team were removed from an investigation into Hunter Biden after claiming that he had evidence of political interference. And what he is asserting is that someone in the Justice Department was trying to thwart this investigation, stop them from doing their job. They were looking into tax fraud. Now, in many ways, this is kind of like maybe the smallest part of the Hunter Biden story. This is the tax fraud. It's the thing that sends Al Capone to Alcatraz. We got him on taxes.
Maybe, but maybe not, because we've covered many times on this show how, the Hunter Biden laptop had Excel spreadsheets and emails showing 10,000 here, 20,000 here, 10,000 for this club membership, 20,000 from this LLC that was connected to whatever, China, Ukraine. The webs that were weaved were really complicated. Anybody, of course, would think there's no way he's reporting that on his taxes, that he's getting some from here. There's emails that say this from the big guy. Is it a gift tax? Is it under the threshold? These are things that absolutely would be illegal to not report on your taxes. And also, the president knows about it because there are emails between his assistant and copying the president directly, voicemails. There's a lot there. You have to think that was not properly reported because it came across so willy-nilly, like, oh, yes, the president's going to pay your country club bill. Okay, we're going to, send that across. These are things that, of course, it would be complicated to report that kind of movement. Most people don't have that problem.
So what he is asserting is that someone in the Justice Department was trying to thwart an investigation into the president's son, into Hunter Biden. He doesn't mention Hunter Biden by name, but the New York Post says that the congressional sources did confirm this. He also says that he was removed from this case because he'd gone to Congress with evidence of corruption. Here is the letter that his lawyer sent to Congress, and it was in the New York Post, but Twitter user Colin Rugg then typed it out for us. So we're just going to show you what it looks like here. We're not going to read the whole thing, but there's the letter. So the whistleblower's attorneys have informed congressional leaders that the purge was carried out on the orders of the Department of Justice. Any way you slice this is obstruction of justice. What else could this be? Obstruction of justice. They are actively investigating the son of the president for tax fraud. This whistleblower comes forward and says they're stonewalling. The Department of Justice is trying to go around this. And we heard from the IRS commissioner just a few weeks ago in testimony in front of the House Oversight Committee, asked by Representative Jason Smith specifically, like, if this whistleblower comes forward, will there be protection? Will this person be protected to carry out his or her job in the justice, in the service of the law? And this is what the head of the IRS said in congressional testimony. Watch.
We received outreach from an IRS whistleblower requesting the committee look into concerns the individual has about allegations of misconduct. So can you commit that there will be no retaliation against that whistleblower?
I can say without any hesitation, there will be no retaliation for anyone making an allegation or a call to a whistleblower hotline.
Yeah. Now, he may want that to be true. That's possible. And in the letter from the whistleblower's lawyers, it says that the whistleblower was informed that this change was at the request of the Department of Justice.
So above his head somewhere?
Which means he's not saying it came from the IRS commissioner. He's saying it came from the Justice Department, and that it's possible that the head of the IRS had no say in this.
So Jason Smith was asked about this last night, actually. So Jason Smith, that person you saw leading the House Ways and Means Committee, asking the IRS commissioner those questions. So Jason Smith says, well, there's one of two things is happening here. Watch.
For any IRS employee could contact us as the Committee of Jurisdiction for Congressional Oversight, could let us know of anything we need to look at. And we've gotten some whistleblowers. And that's why I asked the IRS commissioner just less than 3 weeks ago if there would be any retaliation for the whistleblowers that's coming forward. And he said, absolutely not. Well, yesterday I received a letter from the counsel of one of the whistleblowers that said that he was removed off of this high-profile case along with other individuals of his team. And it was done by the Justice Department. So we sent him a letter this afternoon. We sent a letter to the IRS commissioner asking us to give us the information. There's only two things. Either he's not telling the truth before sworn testimony before Congress, or two, someone higher up directed him to do this.
What do you think it is? Someone higher up, clearly. I mean, I don't know. Let us know your thoughts on this in the chat below. Was it Werfel himself at the IRS that was the one driving this whole narrative? Or was it somebody else? We know, though, that it came from the Justice Department.
Well, I mean, this is something then that needs to be put into a discovery process, because the whistleblower is saying that someone told him it's out of my hands. It came from above my pay grade. It comes from the Justice Department. So is there a paper trail of this? Who said it and how do we get that information?
Senator Ron Johnson yesterday asked this question in a committee hearing in the Senate side of things and in front of the IRS, asking them, we want to know. We just got this letter. Like, what the heck is going on here? Listen to Senator Ron Johnson, who has been trying to get to the bottom of a number of truths in this country. Watch.
The concern we have now, according to this letter, is that entire IRS investigatory team has been pulled off the Hunter Biden case. My question for you, Mr. Ford, in your time in the IRS, in the investigatory division, the criminal division, was there ever another instance where an entire IRS investigatory team was pulled off a tax case?
Thank you for the question, Senator. So, yeah, I've spent almost 30 years with IRS criminal investigation. I'm not aware of a situation such as that. But again, when I retired from the organization at the end of 2020, I was in charge of about 3,000 people, including 2,100 agents. So I can't say with certainty whether or not that happened.
So again, we have a whistleblower here. He's seeking whistleblower protection. Sounds like the House has granted it. I'm not sure what the Senate is doing. This is the Committee of Jurisdiction. I hope you grant whistleblower protection and cooperate in an interview with this whistleblower, because we need to find out this information, claiming partisanship in the Hunter Biden investigation. And now the fact that the Justice Department has removed the entire investigatory team off of the case, that just smacks of partisanship and erodes the American people's confidence that the IRS will be fair and impartial and administer justice in the tax code equally.
Yeah.
Now, I think it's worth reminding ourselves of our confidence in the Justice Department right now on the wake of the Durham report, right? And the IRS telling us they need more agents. For what?
Yeah,
actually?
You need, how many agents is it?
87,000.
87,000 and armed agents.
Right.
So, yes, no partisanship here. Do you think they're going to go after political opponents? They also, by the way, they have a history of doing it under the Obama administration. We remember what they did in the Cincinnati field offices, right? They specifically admitted to going after conservative groups. So we know that that's true. That's already happened. Do you think that it's not going to happen again?
Right. And again, we're looking right now at the Justice Department, which just 2 days ago, we got the Durham report telling us that anyone connected in this triangle of Hillary Clinton, Joe Biden, Barack Obama circle was given special treatment when it came to government investigations, right? The government backed off Democratic investigations and put the gas on Republican ones. So now we know about all of this, fuzzy money movement from Hunter Biden. Clearly, there is something to investigate here. Why is why are the brakes being put on here? Now, and also it's just funny because you would think that Joe Biden, he knows his son has addiction. It's a tragic thing. He knows that his son takes all kinds of big chunks of money here and there. He knows something. In fact, we know that from the way he was copied on emails. So you would think that he would have the best tax attorneys there to be working with these auditors and be on top of this. You would think that, especially if you're going to make a presidential bid. But there's so much here that just doesn't make sense.
Well, yeah, I mean, can we just real quick before we get out of here on this story is think about it, right? He gets a call from his tax accountant a number of years ago, like 2018 or so, and he finds out, Hunter, you're off by $400,000. You owe an additional $400,000 that you didn't report to the IRS. Okay, does he pay it? No, he doesn't. In fact, it doesn't get paid until years later, and it gets paid by like a lawyer or something. It doesn't get paid by him. A team sends in $2 million. So then, wait a minute, $400,000 was what he didn't pay, and now they're sending a check in for $2 million to cover the missing tax money that he should have paid. Like, and why isn't he sending it? Well, it's just coming from this random person to cover these expenses. That's an additional $1.6 million that are not accounted for.
It just smacks of people who feel like they will never be held accountable so that they can just behave however.
Right.
I mean, Clayton and I, we spend a lot of time studying, our taxation, making sure we're prepared for it, studying tax optimization, making sure that, like in Tom Wheelwright's great book, Tax-Free Wealth, that you're always prepared for an audit. And if it happens, you're like, great, because I have my documents in order, right? And you hope that you don't have one. When auditors come in, you say, okay, come on in. I'm ready to show you what I've done. It's all on the up and up. You don't behave this way. The IRS says that it's not going to comment on the status of this case, even though they have all this new personnel, which probably means they're busy putting the gas on an investigation of a Trump child.
Yeah, I'm sure. Or going after Trump in some other way. Who knows? Let us know your thoughts on this. Is this obstruction of justice? What else would it be? Let us know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching this segment here at Redacted. We are live every day at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, trying to share the stories that the mainstream media will not cover. You should also come over and join our community of Redacted Rebels over at redacted.inc. That's our private locals community where we can share exclusive content that we simply cannot share here on YouTube. Come over and join the rebellion together right now by going to redacted.inc. We'll see you next time.